All right, let's dive in. Today we're talking about a management framework with a name that, well, you're not going to forget it. It's called the Honey Badger. This thing is a pretty radical new system, and it's built specifically for the chaos that comes with modern AI-powered teams. So if that sounds like your world, you're definitely going to want to stick around.
So let's just think about your day-to-day for a second. Your team's probably using AI assistants, right? The market is shifting under your feet, it feels like, every single day. The only thing that's certain is uncertainty itself. The old playbooks, the old ways of working, they just might not cut it anymore. So the real question is your management style actually ready for this new reality? It's something a lot of leaders are really grappling with right now.
Okay, let's get right to the heart of a huge problem. It's something called the evidence paradox. Picture this: your boss, your company, they all want rock-solid proof that some new, innovative framework actually works before they'll even consider trying it. But how do you get that proof if nobody's willing to be the first one to adopt it? See the problem? It's a total catch-22, and it's why so many brilliant ideas just end up collecting dust.
But what if a framework just leaned into that paradox? What if it was built from the ground up specifically for these super high uncertainty environments? Well, that's exactly the promise of the Honey Badger Management Framework, or HBMF for short. It's actually designed to generate its own proof and to do it fast. So let's break down exactly how this thing is supposed to work.
The entire framework is built on 4 key pillars. And we're going to start with the first one because it really sets the whole rhythm for the system: ridiculously short cycles.
So forget everything you know about standard 2-week or even month-long sprints. HBMF, this Honey Badger framework, it runs on these super aggressive 7-day sprints. And get this, they can be canceled at any point. The real genius here, and what this slide is showing, is the economic theory behind it all. It's called real options theory. Basically, you treat every single week as an option to continue, not an obligation. What does that do? It gives you the power to kill bad ideas instantly, slash your risk, and get feedback at a speed that's just, honestly, it's mind-blowing.
And you know, this isn't just some wild idea pulled out of thin air. The evidence grade for this pillar is a super strong A-. I mean, the whole idea of small batches and rapid iteration, that's the foundation of things like DevOps and lean development. This pillar is absolutely standing on the shoulders of giants.
Okay, so building on that incredible speed, we get to the second pillar. And I'm going to be honest with you, this is the most powerful part of the framework, but it's also by far the most controversial, and it's called governed competition.
So here's the wild part. You split your team into 2 sub-teams, and you have them both work on the exact same problem at the same time. It's basically a tournament with winner-take-all type rewards to drive performance. This lets you hedge your bets against uncertainty by exploring 2 paths at once. But, and this is key, to stop it from getting toxic, you have mandatory, structured knowledge-sharing sessions. This is designed to stop people from hoarding information.
And this is absolutely the crucial point. Just look at that evidence grade. It's a C+ to a B-. So why so low? Well, because this pillar is incredibly fragile. The research it's based on, it's called rank order tournaments, is crystal clear. Yeah, they can drive a ton of effort, but they can also unleash sabotage and really unethical behavior if they're not governed perfectly. The success of this pillar depends completely on the environment you build around it. And this slide just illustrates that razor's edge perfectly. On one side, you've got this amazing potential for incredible effort, for super fast learning, for exploring multiple solutions at once. But on the other side, you've got the very real risk of sabotage, of totally destroying trust and creating a culture of fear. It is a true double-edged sword, and you have to handle it with extreme care. All right, so let's move on to the final 2 pillars. These are really designed to weave modern technology and resilience right into the DNA of the system. Okay, first up, Pillar 3, AI teaming. Now this is a subtle but really important shift in thinking. AI assistants aren't just tools you use. They're treated as actual accountable contributors to the team. Then you have Pillar 4, which is redundancy. Now this naturally comes from having 2 sub-teams and encouraging people to have overlapping skills. And you might think that's wasteful, but it's not. It's a strategic buffer that actually makes you faster and more resilient. And check out the evidence grades here, a solid B and a B+. These are well-supported, very practical ideas.
So, we've got these 4 powerful and potentially dangerous pillars. What on earth stops the whole thing from just blowing up? Well, that brings us to the absolute linchpin of the entire framework, a very special role called the guru.
Before we can even talk about what the guru does, we have to understand their #1 job: protecting psychological safety. What is that?
It's that feeling on a team where people trust each other. They feel safe enough to speak up, to take a risk, to disagree, and even to fail, all without the fear of being punished or humiliated. If you don't have this, HBMF is absolutely doomed to fail.
This quote from the source research just nails it. That competition pillar we talked about, it can produce one of two things: powerful, amazing learning, or toxic, defensive behavior. So what makes the difference? It's almost entirely down to two things: the level of psychological safety and the quality of the governance.
So this is basically the guru's playbook. They are not a manager. Think of them as a neutral referee, an auditor. Their job is to enforce a zero-tolerance policy for any kind of sabotage. They monitor psychological safety using actual data, like weekly surveys. They make sure the process is fair, they keep everything transparent, and they run the key meetings. This role is the active ingredient that makes that whole competition thing even remotely possible.
So now that we've dug into the mechanics and all the risks involved, we get to the really big question. Could this possibly work for your team?
Okay, this might be the most important takeaway of the whole thing. Do not think of HBMF as some proven, off-the-shelf solution you can just plug in. You have to treat it like a testable hypothesis. It's an experiment, really. It's proposing a new way to work, but it requires some very specific conditions to even have a chance of succeeding.
And these are those conditions. Seriously, before you even dream of trying a pilot, you absolutely need these 4 things locked down. 1, you've got to have mature delivery discipline. Solid automation for those quick feedback loops. 2, the guru role needs real authority, not just a title. 3, you need a concrete plan with guardrails to measure and protect psychological safety. And 4, your metrics, your telemetry have to be transparent and trusted by everyone. Let me be super clear. If you're missing even one of these, you are just not ready. Bull stock.
But hey, if you are ready, here's how you could actually test this thing safely. You run a small 3-month pilot. You measure your performance before you start to get a baseline. You track standard engineering metrics, things like lead time and deployment frequency. And most important of all, you measure psychological safety every single week. If that number drops below a line you've already drawn in the sand, you stop the experiment immediately, no questions asked.
The Honey Badger management framework is, wow, it's fascinating. It's high risk, but it's also potentially high reward. It mashes together proven ideas in a really radical new way, but its success hinges completely on having great governance and a deep, real commitment to psychological safety. So the final question isn't whether the framework is good or bad. It's a much more personal one. Is your team truly ready to run this experiment?